Hey there, this is Lynn. Today is November the 18th, 2024, and I have just completed 78 weeks on the carnivore diet. Now, today is a special anniversary, but it has nothing to do with my diet, my weight loss journey, my health journey. Today is the 23rd anniversary of the day I met my youngest daughter. Actually, I didn't meet her, she moved in. So, if you don't know me very well, if you're fairly new, all my kids are adopted. And they were in foster care, and my youngest daughter was 5.5 when we got her. And so it was actually the 15th of November that we met her for the first time. And then 3 days later, she moved in. So every year we celebrate. This is our anniversary. So she is now 28 years old. She's married. And we are going to go out and get manicures. And boy, do I need something relaxing because it's been stressful lately. For those of you who've been around for a while, you know who Max is, our dog. And if you've been around for a really long time, when I first started my channel, we had Max and we had my dog Gracie. And Gracie would make an appearance every once in a while in my videos, but we had to put her down last October of 2023, which was sad. She was my baby. Max is mainly Dave's dog, but if you see my January plank challenge videos, very often Max would make an appearance, and he has been sick lately. He is 16 years old, and we don't know what's going on. We did take him to the vet today, and we're hoping to get some answers. We were waiting on blood work, and we're waiting on a urinalysis, but he has been keeping us up because he's like urinating frequently, more so at night. He has been having a whole bunch of other symptoms too. And he's an old dog, and he's lost weight. So we were really concerned, And so we took him to the vet this morning. We thought initially that maybe he might have Cushing's disease, but the vet said no, he doesn't have Cushing's disease. And possibly something going on with his liver or his kidneys. And so we did a urinalysis because we want to make sure it's not just a UTI going on. He has lost 2 pounds since the last time we took him to the vet, which was just a month ago. So that's concerning, but he's been throwing up, and he's on some fairly new food, and he was doing fine with it before, and then all of a sudden he's been throwing up, and it just seems like almost like he's being poisoned. So they're going to take back that whole flat of food that we were giving him, and I put him back on his old food, which is a carnivore food, and he perked up so fast when he switched back to his carnivore food, but he's still having the urinary issues. So we're going to find out. They did an x-ray, and there's no tumor, so that's good because we've already lost 2 dogs to cancer, and losing them to cancer is why I switched Max over to a carnivore dog food. And he would not adjust to the actual, the meat that we were giving him, but I found a Purina Wild Prey dog food that is all meat and organs. So he had been doing well on that. And then the vet took him off it because he developed colitis, and she thought, oh, it's too high protein, too high fat for him. And so we put him on a different diet dog food, and his colitis did clear up, but now he wouldn't eat it on Friday, and he was vomiting it up, and he looked so haggard. And I gave him some more food for breakfast because he usually will eat, even if he's vomited, he'll eat whatever we give him. And he turned his nose up at it, which he never does. I've never seen him turn his nose up at food. So we're like, oh my gosh, are we losing Max? Is this the end? But I figured, well, let me just test out and see if it's really his appetite or is it the food. So I gave him his old Wild Prey food, and he devoured it. And it was amazing. Within about 30 minutes, the dog went from looking like he was on death's door to looking fine again. And it was unbelievable. I told the vet that, and she was shocked. Like, what on earth? But it may be hard on his liver, it may be hard on his gallbladder because it is higher in fat, and dogs just can't handle the fat as much. I don't know what's going to happen. But anyways, we're waiting on blood work. We're waiting on the urinalysis. We may need to have an ultrasound done of his liver depending on the lab work. I don't know. we'll see what happens, but he has been keeping us up at night. I stayed up pretty much almost the whole night last night so my husband could sleep so he could go to work and I'd watch Max, and because I definitely don't need him falling asleep at the wheel because he drives for a living. So anyways, love Max, but the vet said no, he doesn't look like he's a dying dog. She said he looks really good, and she's hoping that whatever we find is something that can be treatable, hopefully with a special diet or whatever. But I wish I could keep him on the carnivore food, but if it's causing him to have gallbladder issues, or if it's caused his colitis, because she said sometimes too high protein can cause colitis in some breeds. So I don't know. Maybe we're going to have to find out another lower fat carnivore solution for him, because he seems to really do well with the carnivore food, which of course it's his species appropriate diet, right? Okay, my goodness. All right, so last week I had gained weight, and I'd gained 2 weeks in a row, and so I was like, okay, I got to do something. So I did something a little different this week, and I know every time I say I need to do a reset, I say I'm going to completely avoid dairy, and then I don't. But I'm going to share what I did this week and what the results were. So I decided just for this past week that I was going to weigh myself daily, every morning, which normally I don't do. I just do a once a week weigh-in. But I figured, well, I'd like to see day by day how what I'm eating is affecting my weight. And so I went cold turkey on coffee and none of the heavy cream. I had been putting the butter in it. When I stopped the heavy cream, I started putting a bunch of butter in my coffee. So I stopped that. I stopped adding butter and putting butter on top of my steaks. I also stopped all sugar substitutes. So I have monk fruit drops that I've been putting in my coffee. I stopped those. And I had been drinking Zevias. And Zevias they will creep up on you and trigger an addiction. So I had thought, no, Zevias are fine because they don't make me crave sweets. But what they did was make me crave Zevias. And so when I really stepped back and looked at it objectively, I saw that no, I wasn't craving desserts or anything. I wasn't craving carbs when I had Zevia, but I noticed that my consumption of it was getting to be more and more as time went on. And so I did zero, went cold turkey, no Zevias either. And let's see. So I also didn't do any of those mug breads that I had been doing. Now there was just a tiny little bit of cheese in those, but it was butter. It was the pork rind panko and the cheese and an egg. And that was what made up the mug bread. So I didn't do any of those at all this week. And what I found is that every day I was losing weight doing that. Every single day that I jumped on the scale, I was losing weight. And I did 3 times I had some cheese. And a couple times it was kind of a lot of cheese. That didn't stop me from losing weight. And I'm not coming to any conclusions about that because I know cheese can definitely be a stall for people. But based on what I did this past week, it seems as though the actual added extra fat that I was doing and possibly even the sweeteners were the big contributor to me gaining weight. The only way for me to know that is to add one of those things back and test it out. So and see whether or not the weight stalls again. So there's kind of 2 ways to approach this. And I know last week I mentioned that I was doing a very unscientific approach by just cutting out all these things at once. But it's not that unscientific if then you test it by adding things back one at a time. So I don't know if I'm going to do that or not because I'm really enjoying getting the weight back off. And one of those things, or all of those things, were causing to my weight stall. We'll see. I don't know. If I add something back, maybe mug breads. We'll see, because I do like them, and we'll see if I gain weight again on the mug breads, and maybe I'll test that out first. And I think while I'm doing these tests, I think I will continue to weigh myself every day. and just kind of watch it really carefully and see how my eating impacts things. Even though things have been stressful with Max and my sleep had been getting back on schedule and now it's all wonky again because I'm staying up with him, that didn't seem to impact my weight this past week. So I'm glad about that. And I am doing walking on my walking pad. Yeah. So overall, I'm doing well. I'm tired. I'm very tired because I slept maybe a couple hours last night, and I think I'm going to be probably taking a nap or go to bed early this evening. I don't know. It's hard. We have to keep Max in a diaper for now until we figure out what's wrong and figure out what the treatment's going to be. He's probably going to continue urinating, and it's, but my husband's safety and the safety of his passengers are the most important things. So I will sacrifice my sleep until we get through this situation and make sure that he gets rested. Okay, so on to my results. So I weighed in this morning at 231.2. Love it. That is the lowest I've been so far, because prior to this, my lowest was 232, I think. Well, no, I think I was 231 after I had the flu. So I'm pretty much back to where I was right after the flu. So I don't really count that week. That was an anomaly. This is the lowest I've been without being sick. I think that's important to note because sick doesn't count. All right, so that is 3.6 pounds down on the scale. Now, when I look at my metrics, first thing I look at is my fat-free body weight, and it had been hovering forever at 125 pounds, which was great because my starting was 98.2. But it had not moved for quite a while, or barely moved. And then this week, it's up by 0.4. So that's great. So that I'm curious about that, because was one of the things I eliminated keeping me from gaining good tissue? That's something to ponder for sure. Let me know what you think about that. Yeah. So, and it was not muscle. When I look at the breakdown, it was bone and it was a little bit of fluid. So my muscle mass stayed the same at 117.8, but that's good because I had gained a little bit of muscle last week. I'd been flatlined with muscle for a while. So my bone went up by 0.2 again. So that's amazing. So it makes me wonder what maybe the sweeteners were doing to my bones. I don't know. One metric, one jump is not anything to draw a conclusion from. But I get really hyper analytical, and then I start drawing conclusions, or at least coming up with different hypotheses. We'll see how that goes. So I'm not going to add back any sweeteners, any artificial sweeteners this week at all. So we'll see how that goes. And I'm actually doing okay without coffee. Oh, I also switched up my electrolyte. So I stopped taking the Element and I got the optimal electrolytes, and I started taking those. I feel like I'm improving and I'm feeling better on this new electrolyte. I wouldn't say it was like night and day difference, but I'm not having the dizzy spells. So that's fantastic. I guess that's probably the biggest improvement I've seen, is just I'm not having the dizzy spells. So maybe I'm getting more hydrated with this different electrolyte. Now, it does not taste as good as Element. And I think that's probably got to be one reason why Element is popular, is because it probably is one of the better tasting, relatively clean electrolytes. But the optimal electrolytes doesn't taste bad. It just doesn't have as strong of a taste as Element, which may mean that it does not have maltodextrin, because the maltodextrin in the Element, which they're getting so much flack for right now, is a carrier of the sweetener. That's my understanding, or the flavors of the sweeteners is a carrier of it. It helps to deliver it or make it more bioavailable. I don't know all the chemistry around it, but perhaps that this optimal electrolytes don't have the maltodextrin. I hope they don't. Okay. So let's see. So overall, let me just kind of look at the other metrics. My visceral fat is still at 17, which is fine. It didn't go down this week, but it didn't go up. So that's really great. Um, Everything else is looking pretty good, except, my metabolic rate went up another 2 points, which is good. If I can get past that 1600, that will be a real breakthrough because it's taking me a long time. And of course, the metabolic age. I'm not even close to getting that to where it needs to be, but I have faith eventually it will get there. I'm going to celebrate when that happens. Okay, so since the beginning, which was May 29th was when I started the carnivore diet. May 31st was the day I first weighed in. And so based on my first initial weigh-in weight, I assume I was over 340 when I started. Now 340 was not my top weight. My top weight was around 350. So I was close to my top weight when I started, but I weighed in 2 days after starting the carnivore diet at 339.6. So I have lost 108.4 pounds on the scale. I have gained 27.2 pounds of good tissue over that period of time, which means that my total fat loss is 135.6 pounds, which I love. That's amazing. I've gained 25.6 pounds of muscle. I've gained 2 whole pounds of bone, which is fantastic. At age 56, love to be gaining bone, not losing bone. And then so from the very, very beginning, overall, my net water fluid is 0.4 pounds. And again, it fluctuates up and down. As of this week, it's 0.4 pounds. So those are fantastic results. I'm so glad I'm seeing this drop again because I feel like I have been in the 230s forever. And I'm very anxious to get into the 220s. Of course, my goal weight is still probably about 50 pounds away. I don't necessarily have a goal weight. I know my body is it's not going to settle here because I am still considered overweight and I need to. And I'm assuming I'm still considered obese. I don't know. I don't think I'm considered morbidly obese anymore. I'm going to have to go back and do those calculations. Just even looking at my body, I can't imagine why anybody would call me morbidly obese anymore. I could see obese. I definitely can see overweight. But it's weird because when you look at people out there nowadays, so many people are obese. It's easy to start thinking that I just look like an average person. I mean, I'm now fitting into a size 16 and I was a size 28 before. So it's like, 16 for a woman isn't unusual. And so I'm thinking, maybe I'm just kind of an average size for a woman of 5'8". But according to the metrics, no, I'm not. And honestly, I think we may have come to accept unhealthy as healthy. My weight is still technically considered unhealthy. It's so much better than it was before, but I'm still carrying around extra weight. My visceral fat needs to be below 11 just to be acceptable. Not good, but acceptable. So I still have 6 more pounds of visceral fat to lose. I still have subcutaneous fat, which is slower to lose on my belly, but it's getting there. And I could tell this week I'd lost a little bit of belly fat, so that's good. So again, I do experience body dysmorphia from the opposite side of what most people do. A lot of people will think that they look fat when they're not, and I'm the opposite. I think I look thinner than I am. And so that's why looking at the metrics really helps, because it keeps me in perspective and helps me understand that I may be happy with the results, and I am. I'm thrilled, but I have still a ways to go. And I am beyond thrilled at what this has done for my mast cell activation syndrome. I don't have reactions anymore. I'm able to tolerate some higher histamine foods now. My rosacea, I have one little spot right there. This is a spot that just wants to hang on. But other than that, my rosacea is gone. And this spot is, I'm watching it because I want to see when this spot finally goes away. I feel like that will be the final clue that the rosacea is gone, which I do feel is a reflection on my gut. So my gut is so much better, but still a little ways to go for sure. So the benefits of eating carnivore have been phenomenal, to say the least. And the weight loss is my happy side effect. And I know I focus a lot on my weight loss because, of course, that's what you can see externally. Now, you can see the rosacea results externally as well. There's no doubt when you look at my before and after that it is like night and day as far as my skin goes. We tend to, especially as women, we tend to focus on weight. And so that tends to be where I report on. But I don't want to minimize the amazing benefits I've experienced in these other areas. No longer having sleep apnea. Holy cow. It's been so many months now since I've had to sleep with a CPAP machine after sleeping with it since 2008. I'm so excited about that. Anyways, okay, so I think that's it for today. I know I like to ramble on. I feel like I've stumbled over my words just a little bit today, but considering how tired I am from minimal sleep last night, kind of not surprised. But thank you for bearing with me if you're still here. Excited about the work I'm doing for Healing Humanity. Let's see. Also, where'd my books go? Okay, I always like to show you my books. Here they are. Somebody put it back there. My husband likes to put things places. We call him the gremlin because he sneaks in and he hides things. He doesn't really. It's just that, like, I go to look for something where it usually is and it's not there. I don't know. Maybe I put him there. I'm quick to accuse the gremlin. So if it wasn't the gremlin, then it was me. All right. So Amy Hosp and myself have written 2 books. So this one is Superhuman Power Foods for Humanity. It is available on Amazon. It will teach children about the power superheroes, beef, bacon, butter, and eggs. It is a combination. It has a comic book. It has coloring pages for young kids, coloring for older kids. It has places where it has games and activities. They can do their own recipes. There's even some things that are inspirational for them. Like this page here is called Believe. It says, what could you do if you felt really strong? And then a place for them to draw themselves doing strong things. There's a little recipe in here for kids for how to make your own butter so they can get exercise while shaking that jar of butter and wiggle. It says wiggle, jiggle, and dance until a ball of butter forms. So anyways, this is a fun book. So get this for your kids or grandkids so that they will know that their ability to be strong and to be smart comes from the food they eat, and it's not the garbage food. It teaches them about the garbage food. And then this book here is Sugar Cubie, the Sugar Monster, and the Superhuman Power Foods for Humanity. This is a storybook, and it is about the characters are Dr. Berry's kids. See, there they are, Bonnie and Beckett, and Granny Berry. See, there we go, Granny Berry. Cute illustrations. This is also available on Amazon, and both of them are linked in my description of my book. My video. Some of the donations from this book go to the Healing Humanity documentary project, and some of the proceeds from this book go to Dr. Berry's American Diabetes Society. Alrighty, that's it for today. Thank you so much if you're still here with me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Hey everyone, Kerry here, and you are currently watching one of my favorite YouTube channels. So great job, but if you need just a little bit more inspiration on your healing journey, we have a new membership site that I'm excited to share with the world. It is at healinghumanity.life. there is a link with a special promo code offer in the description below. At our membership site, you can be inspired to find a path to healing. We have courses that you can take at your own pace. We have an amazing community. We do multiple Zoom calls per week. We even bring in the good doctors, experts for your Q&As. Most of all, we have an amazing community that's here to support you, keep you motivated, and keep you inspired. Learn more at the link in the description below, healinghumanity.life.